All right, let's get into a really interesting and kind of backwards-sounding law from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. We're talking about Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor.
I mean, think about that for a second. It's a pretty strange idea, right? We live in a world that's constantly screaming at us to be visible, to post more, to always be present. But what if the real secret to power is knowing exactly when to vanish?
So the idea here is basically economics, but for your social life. If there's too much of something, anything, its price plummets. It's the same with you. If you're always around, people just get used to you. Your presence becomes common. But if you strategically make yourself scarce, you're not just disappearing, you're actually creating value. You get people talking about you, wondering about you, admiring you, all because you're just not as easy to get. To really get this, let's start with a super simple ancient story that just nails the whole concept.
Okay, check out this old parable. On one hand, you've got the cock. This bird is a model citizen. It's got 5 virtues, it's strong, it's courageous, a fantastic animal. But, and this is the key, it's common. You can find one anywhere. And what's its fate? It ends up on the dinner table. Now, on the other hand, you've got the snow goose. This thing has 0 virtues. In fact, it's kind of a pest. But it's rare. It's a traveler from thousands of miles away. And just because of that, it's prized. It's valued. See the difference? What's always there gets taken for granted. What's rare gets honored.
So let's take that principle and see how it plays out in a really messy, real-world example. This is the story of a medieval troubadour who basically tripped and fell backwards into using this law.
Oh man, this story is a total mess, but a fascinating one. So you have Guillaume and Guillerme, and they're crazy about each other. But then Guillaume gets this totally bizarre idea from a friend. He decides he wants to experience the bliss of reconciliation, you know, that feeling of making up after a big fight. So to do that, he just fakes being angry and leaves. But his whole plan just goes completely sideways. Instead of making her mad, his absence makes her love him even more. She starts chasing him, which he thinks is totally beneath her. So frustrated, he cruelly rejects her. And that's when it happens. She vows to never see him again, and real absence finally begins. And you know what? A year later, it's Guillaume who's a wreck, begging her to take him back.
So what do we learn from this train wreck of a romance? Absence, even when it's completely accidental, it just feeds the imagination. It gives passion all this space to grow. By being gone, Guillaume stopped being just a guy. He became this perfect, idealized figure in Guillerme's mind.
Okay, so that was an accident. Now let's flip the script and look at a true masterclass. This is someone who used absence deliberately to gain immense political power. This is the story of a guy named Dioces, who literally built a kingdom using this law.
Dioces' strategy was pure genius. Okay, step 1. In a land that was totally lawless, he made himself absolutely essential. He became the one and only guy you could go to for a fair judgment. He built up his presence until everyone relied on him. Then comes step 2, and this is the killer move. At the absolute height of his power, he creates a vacuum. He just quits, walks away, and just as he knew it would, chaos returns. The people who now desperately missed his wisdom, they come begging him to return, not just as a judge, but as their king. And here's the final brilliant twist. He agrees, but only if he can rule from a distance, totally hidden away and inaccessible.
The result? I mean, it was incredible. His complete withdrawal, his total absence from the public eye, it transformed him. He wasn't just a respected leader anymore. He became a myth, a legend. His people literally started to believe he was more than human. So, we've seen a messy love story and a brilliant political strategy, but let's dig into the why. What is it about absence that's so psychologically powerful? Why does it work so well?
This quote just nails it. If the connection you have with someone is weak, absence will kill it. Poof, like wind blowing out a candle. But if that connection is already strong, absence is like pouring gasoline on it. It just fans it into a raging fire. It takes whatever emotion is there and just makes it bigger. And look, this isn't just about feelings, it's straight up economics. The law of scarcity is real. When you pull something off the market, its value instantly skyrockets. Think about tulipomania back in the 1600s, where one rare tulip bulb was worth more than a house, or the art dealer Joseph Duveen, who would buy up entire art collections just to keep his own paintings super rare and incredibly expensive. It's the exact same principle with your skills, your presence, and your influence.
And you know, history is just packed with people who mastered this game. Napoleon,
He knew if he showed up to the theater all the time, people would stop caring. Greta Garbo retired super young, and that's why she's still a legend. J.D. Salinger's silence made people obsessed with his work. Even Emperor Charles V, he retired at the peak of his power, and in doing so, he turned the fear people had for him into pure admiration.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, great, I'm gonna go disappear. Hold on, not so fast. What we're about to cover now is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole thing. Because using this law seems easy, but knowing when not to use it, that's the real key.
And I am dead serious about this. This law has a massive warning label attached. If you get the timing wrong, it doesn't just fizzle out, it blows up in your face.
So here's the deal. You have to think of this as a two-phase game. In phase 1, your only goal is to establish your presence. You have to be everywhere. You have to be seen. You have to become valued, just like Dioikids did. You have to be omnipresent. And the risk here is huge, because if you try to disappear before you've done that, you won't be missed, you'll just be forgotten. Only after you've nailed phase 1 can you even think about moving to phase 2, where you use strategic absence to be missed and honored.
Let's just let that sink in for a second. Absence doesn't magically create value out of nothing. It only works on value that's already there. You have to give people something worth missing in the first place.
So, after all that, what's the big idea we need to walk away with?
I think this quote from Baltasar Gracian just says it all, perfectly. Being too present can diminish your reputation, but being absent can actually make it grow. The person we only see from a distance, we imagine them as a lion. But when that same person is around all the time, they start to seem, well, a lot more common, a lot less impressive.
And that really brings us to the final question, one for you to think about. Looking at your own life right now, your job, your relationships, whatever, what phase are you really in? Is this your time to build your presence and be absolutely everywhere? Or have you built up enough value that it's finally time to step back and create a little power through absence?